How do I shut my camera off?
No, people didn't.
There's no camera on there. What? How do I mute my voice?
Shut off the audio. More snacks unless it's a fruit. I know, I'm just.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Cheyenne, where we are building a community of refuge, where all have equal worth and are invited into spiritual exploration as a foundation for hope, compassionate service, and action.
This is a place where questions are encouraged.
This is a place with room for all of who you are.
This is a place full of works in progress.
This is a place for being human together.
Welcome. It's good to be here.
Settle in and exhale. This is a time for community.
Hello, I'm Gene Heater, a member of the board, and I would like to welcome you to this church where we are on this shared journey to find meaning, connection, and community together. One way we do this is through the activities and events that happen in our building and in the community beyond our walls. Let me tell you about a couple of events which are happening soon. Our monthly potluck is coming up on February 5th, and we welcome your presence. We welcome your presence to share this community event. Bring food if you're able, bring friends if you like. There is abundance and room for all. The new religious education team is up and running and excited to share with you that they will be beginning faith development sessions for 5 to 12-year-olds at 11 a.m. on the second and fourth Sunday of each month. There will be movement space for people who want to use their bodies in big ways, maker space for those who enjoy arts and crafts, and meditation space available for those who need a more quiet place of contemplation. We hope you'll help out as participants or volunteer helpers. Contact any member of the RE team to get connected and offer help. Are any RE team members here this morning? There's one, so talk to her if you want to be a volunteer. Remember that our new programs have a reusable cover, so please place them in the basket to the right of the sanctuary doors as you head to coffee hour at the end of our worship. We gather together both in person and on Zoom as a congregation. It is here that we gather our resources to sustain the work of this church and share our abundance with community organizations to broaden the reach of our values. You can find the address of the Realm app for giving online in your order of service, or your Share the Plate offerings and pledges may also be dropped in the baskets now as they pass at the rear of the sanctuary at the end of the end of the service in the rear of the sanctuary. Our Share the Plate partner for the month of January is the Minister's Discretionary Fund. Please welcome the words of Reverend Elizabeth to tell you a little bit about their work.
Thank you. So yes, in January, we replenished the Minister's Discretionary Fund. And despite Kathleen liking to call it the slush fund, it's not just a fund for the minister to do whatever. This is the fund that helps us to live our values into the community in a very immediate sense. So when there's someone who can't quite make a bill or is feeling unwell or has had a change in the family and just needs a meal or a bit of support, this is the fund that makes that happen. For all those things where it's not something that you need long-term social services support for, but just right now, things are a little hard. And this is the power of community that we can offer. The ability to simply give when there is need. So I ask that you be as generous as you are able as the baskets go around.
Far beyond the grasp of hands, or light to meet the eye, past the reaches of the mind. There find the key to nature's harmony in an architecture so entwined. Like the birds whose patterns grace the sky and carry all who join in love expanding, the message of peace will rise in flight, taking the weight of the world upon its wings. In the oneness of everything. Peace is in the dance of trees who stir before the first breath of wind is yet received. Trust in the song becoming one with the dance, and all mysteries can be believed. Songs of lives long past that touch our own are written in the earth ever giving. And now to maintain the harmony gives to us all lives worth living. the truth, that we might understand and reduce to terms defined. Vast and immeasurable time and space, also overwhelmingly designed. Oh, passing years just might I know the faith that winters in the heart, to be reborn in spring, to hear and to feel the pulse of life enters my soul as a song to sing of the oneness of everything.
During this reading, I invite you to take a slinky as they are handed out. They will be a part of our metaphor through the service. Feel welcome to fidget, to enjoy, to be with us in this playful reminder of our connectedness. At a point, we are born. At a point, we die. And all along that thread between, that thread spun, measured, and cut by the threefold hands of enterprising fate. In the Greek mythos, the portraits, the sculpted art, that thread runs straight, beginning to ending, like selfies and family photos, a moment of sweet perfection, captured in the split second between a sticky mess and a crying child. For in the real world, time spirals and knots, and some moments stretch, some linger. Some knot up our hearts and twist us around. Some days bend and crook in unexpected ways. The seasons turn, come round again. This is the time of the gods, true time of the cosmos, Kairos time, the moment for action, the moment to notice, the opportune time, the now. Here we are gathered. Here we find the spirals and the shifting. Here we find time for community and connection. So come, let us worship together, for now is the moment. And for our opening hymn, I invite you to turn in your gray hymnals, rise in body or in spirit, and join in singing hymn number 347, Gather the Spirit. Let's welcome Marlo forward to assist in our chalice lighting. All right, thank you.
Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. And sorry, I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and I looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then I took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear, those, though as for that passing there, had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lie in leaves, no step had trodden black. And oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads to way. I doubted if I would ever come back, and I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in the wood, and I took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference. Perhaps the light of this chalice may draw us toward the path less traveled, continually transform our lives and our communities in these unreal times. Now, if the young at heart would like to join us up here at the chancel at this time, we invite you to share in the leadership of speaking our covenant. and bring along your
Or slinkies.
little
You're gonna
springs.
need them. Is it just gonna be me? I'm the only young one here today. I thought we might have more. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
The words of our covenant may be found on the inside cover of your order of worship. Love
Is the spirit of this church and service its cause. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth, and to help others. All right. So, how many people have a slinky today? All right. I actually brought 2 slinkies in case anybody didn't already have one. So, you want an extra slinky? There might be extra slinkies.
So if I
So-
want this one, I can have another one.
That's pretty cool. So, what is it that makes slinkies so fun and special that we want to have so many slinkies? What's cool about them? Did you say the feeling of them? What about them? Nothing, you don't like slinkies after all.
I do actually.
Yeah, I like slinkies.
I like them going down the stairs.
Yeah, that they can twist and turn, and if you have a big one, it'll go down the stairs over and over.
I can make patterns.
You can make patterns. Yeah, some of these slinkies that have curves kind of turn into this spirograph kind of thing if you twist them,
I want to
and they make different shapes. Yeah.
try.
Yeah, give that a try. And you can stretch them out, and they'll spring right back. And you can swirl them. They're a fun thing. Yeah. So they're stretchy and bouncy and squishy and pulley, and you can make patterns. And because this is church and everything is a metaphor, I'm going to tell you how slinkies are a little bit like our lives. Oh, thank you. So the Greeks had 2 different ways of talking about time. When we talk about regular time, we might think of time like a line. You start your day in the morning and you go trot, trot, trot through the hours until you get to evening. From yesterday till tomorrow, on and on. That's called chronological time. Would it be as fun to play with just a straight piece of thread as it is to play with a slinky? Yeah, that you could bounce it. Yeah, so I feel like slinkies are kind of more fun. And this is another way of thinking about time as time spirals. Like a slinky, if you stretched a slinky out a whole lot, you get something where if you were the tiniest little person, you could start at the beginning and you'd just walk round and round the spirals. But it would be almost like just walking on a ramp. You'd go down and down and down, and you might not even realize that you were on a spiral. You might just think that you were on a line with a few little twists and turns. But if you squish the slinky together, so all those points touch, you can move along it. And Madeleine L'Engle, who's a science fiction writer and a fantasy writer, wrote a whole book about time travel where she describes it almost this way, where if you started at one point, you could bend that slinky around till you get to where it touches another point and jump, boing, from one to the other. And she called that a tesseract.
How do you do it?
So if you bend your slinky, you can make the front and the back touch. You could even link them, but sometimes they get stuck. And she called that a tesseract. A tesseract in math is what you get when you take a box, just a square on a piece of paper, and you cube that in 3 dimensions, and it becomes a cube. And then if you square it again, then that cube moves into the 4th dimension. And it kind of hurts our brain to think about sometimes. But that 4th dimension,
It turns into a rectangle.
oh, if you added to one side, yeah. Yeah, this turns into like a multi-dimensional rectangle where the rectangles go through time and space into the 4th dimension. So it might be a moving rectangle through time. So this is Slinky time. It's Kairos time. And it's not something we talk about a lot. Now, in this world, we don't know how to time travel for real. But we do have this cool thing in our brains called memories. So how many of you up here or out there, how many of you can remember a time when you were really happy? And if you remember it vividly, or a time when you were really silly, if you remember it vividly, you might even feel happy again, or feel silly. That also is that Kairos time, the touching together of moments. And we can think of our time and time with others almost like, can I use your slinky for a moment?
Yeah.
So we can hook them together. If we hooked 2 slinkies together,
It'll be bigger.
it's bigger and longer because our lives are touching at a point. And we could do that. Oh no! Yeah, can't let go while we're doing this. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And you know that your lives are connected to people you love, maybe because you're brothers, maybe because your mom is here. And this, yeah. So your life, your slinky of time, is connected to your mom, to your brother, to your friends. And that is another way to stretch our slinkies out and make more of our lives. So we're going to keep talking about slinkies and about time today. And you can go forth and fidget and enjoy. Did you need to take an extra one with you? Good stuff. So thank you for helping me to illustrate all those cool things about slinkies and about time today. You can head to your seats as we continue our worship. And now we'll shift gears a little and join in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of life and of love, connector through times of chaos. Here we are gathered to support one another, to be a comfort in hard times, to magnify our joys in times of celebration, to dwell together in the wonder and mystery of this ever turning, twirling, changing life. Let us take a moment to notice one another in thanks. We speak into this room our gladness that Ron Lebrecht has returned to his regular room at the Point. He continues to welcome visitors. We offer prayers of healing and health to Karen Skinner, who would welcome meals as she recuperates from her illness. We offer thanks and gratitude to our pastoral care and COSM teams, to Birgit and Mike Lammers for coordination, and to all in this community who come together to nourish one another when we are in need. And our prayers reach out to the wider world. We hold in our hearts the city of Memphis, where the community is dealing with their grief, their outrage in the aftermath of Tyree Nichols' brutal murder. We offer hopes for reform. We offer our solidarity in this moment, our affirmation of the righteousness of rage, and our longing for a world in which Black men need not fear death or brutality for simply existing in public. So may we find our calling to recommit to the work of anti-racism, to anti-oppression, to building a beloved community, as the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. helped us dream, to make it a reality in this church, beyond our walls, in this community, and everywhere in this world. And we hold our hopes that this time may become a time of change, of compassion. And let our thoughts reach out as we note the cold, the resting time of the earth. Let us bring our warm hearts to our work and know that we too need times of rest as well as times of resistance and community to keep us strong and well. So may we give thanks for the ever-changing earth and hold room in our hearts for all those joys yet unshared and sorrows too tender to speak aloud. May we find in this place peace and comfort and the unfolding love of community. Amen. And blessed be.
In our youth, we've been introduced to the works of Parker Palmer, and he has heavily influenced, his works have influenced us, and it's been really very interesting because his processes that he used have been really important for deepening the life of the people who have experienced that group. He's in his book on the brink of everything. He has written things that are very reminiscent of life on this. And he is inspired, one of his poems is inspired by Thoreau's work, which is the poem I would have writ. My life has been a poem I would have writ, but I could not live and utter it. He says, the first words are the hardest. Sound surrounds you in the womb. It grows louder when you're born, and you listen, for the day will come when you must speak words too. And how we make our way through this trackless landscape called the world, but how? And what to say? And what does saying do? Later, words come easily, and you learn to speak the language of what you want and need to help you find a pathway and into and through your life, to make it clear what you believe, to reach out to friends, to find work to do, to heal our wounds, ease our fears, and get chance on chance to give love and receive. Sometimes words leap out of you and you soon regret, or in ways so magically you silently rehearse them, hoping never to forget how they came out of the blue, demanding to have life breathed into them by you. When you learn that the first words aren't the hardest, then you learn that the last words are the hardest. There's so much you want to say, but time keeps taking time and all your words away. How to say amid the flood of grief and gratitude you feel, thank you, how beautiful, how grand. I don't know how I survived, or I changed forever the day we joined lives and hands. And as you reach for your last words, you realize this is it. This is the ebbing of language called your life. Words trailing into silence, returning to the source. This unfinished poem you would have writ had it not been for the heartache and the joys of all the weird years you've been living it.
As a child, I found this beautiful, amazing metaphor for the turning of time and the sacred place in the works of Madeleine L'Engle, who I've mentioned. She wrote of a tesseract joining space and time together, letting us flow from moment to moment through story and beyond, well beyond the boundaries of a single point of now. I found it fascinating. I devoured the works of science fiction and fantasy writers who were meditating on time travel. I was fascinated by Kurt Vonnegut's Billy Pilgrim, who came unstuck in time. He flows through events from the firebombing of Dresden in World War II into his pre-birth life and out through the far reaches of future time in outer space. I was entranced by the writings of Octavia Butler, imagining the turnings the revisioning of history and future aligned in kindred, where a Black woman becomes able to travel through time and is pulled again and again by her ancestor in the antebellum South to save the life of this young white slave owner who will one day become her ancestor and whose life must continue in order to save her own. It is a complicated story of harm and salvation passed through generations in twists and turnings. What made me so delighted by these ideas of time being without measure or restraint, for me, was getting to see possibility in action, in becoming. There was fodder for the imagination, the ability to find talents and strengths that one might not in the world as it is. There was the sometimes security of being in a place and time where the shape of history is already known as the future never can be. But on the other side, the adventure of going forward to find out what lays beyond the horizon of the individual imagination. The connections, the knowing that small actions now may be deeply impactful to someone you have not yet met and maybe never will. For me, all of this was the sum of the road not taken, the road already taken, the road not yet taken, the many roads impossible to ever take. These roads diverged in a wood, not as a simple fork, but bound up like a massive and star-like intersection, diverging, recrossing, and filled with fairy lights. This can be true not only in fiction, but in reality. For all of us, there are moments large and small, which from the perspective of future self, are the moment that we go back and say, this is where my journey began. This is the moment where, like Frodo or Bilbo of the Shire, we took that one step off the front stoop into the road that leads to destiny, or a voice that called to your soul, told you to build a boat and sail away like Noah on his ark, feeling that coming of destruction. Sometimes it's so obvious. Sometimes only in retrospect. There was no booming voice from the heavens, only a small and persistent whisper, heard in the stillness of the night. And so I invite us to go inward. Every one of us holds these infinite twisting and turning loops, so you might use your slinky to help you meditate if you wish. I invite you to open that slinky up in your hands or in your mind. Think about where you are right now. Is there a loop in the middle or toward one end or the other? One that holds your life in this moment. Then trace backward through the loops, noting twists and turns until you find a spot that calls to you, a moment of personal power, a choice that turned your life unexpectedly toward something new. Bring that loop up, pinch it together with your present self to make it a moment of remembering, so that your mind can flow between the two. Use that held together piece of memory to explore. Find the feelings that memory holds. How did you know that this moment was important? Do you find joy or fear, sadness or excitement? In that moment, did you know it would become a defining time? Or perhaps, did that awareness come much later? Think back. Where were you going before that turning of the path? What spoke to your heart so clearly that it made the difference? Somewhere in that memory of the moment, you may find a movement of spirit, the call of conscience. When we practice this stretching and turning of our awareness, we can become more attuned to our own hearts in this moment and for the future. I invite you to stretch your slinky again. Twist your way back into the past, perhaps an early memory. Find a time when you found simple joy, when you were unselfconscious about your being. The competence of riding a bike, the freedom of running along a hiking path in the sunshine, maybe helping a friend bake cookies, or making your first really good grilled cheese sandwich all by yourself, feeling the confidence of success and learning. Or maybe it's something bigger. But think back. Feel the temperature of the air around you. Smell the scents that surround you. Notice the time of year, the colors of paint on the wall, or the grass, or the sky. Dive into that memory, pinching your slinky again, finding past and present, and delighting in that moment. These too can be moments of impact, where you feel the sacredness of nature, recalling that you belong to the earth, or know that teaching is a connection you wish to make with humanity, or find your confidence in nourishing yourself and others. In these moments, you may find what you need, become yourself beyond constraint, and know this world has what you need to thrive. I invite you, if you would like, to speak into this space, not the story or the memory, but a word, a feeling you had when you explored these moments. Connection. Blessing. Whatever you found, be it peace, excitement, worry, joy, loneliness, know that you are not the only one. These slinkies, these timelines, you and all who are here together are connected and interwoven in infinite patterns, spiraling through the universe. Pasts and futures in conversation beyond time and space. And these moments, sliding into moments, these are worthy, for they are the Kairos time, the remembered and sacred moments, that which we hope to find now and again sparked in shared worship, where the movement of the stars in creation hold the same import, the same worthiness of note as the robin singing from the bushes in spring, the tiniest tardigrade swimming in a water droplet atop a lichen. And so we return through time and through space to our own hearts, to this place of now, to be reminded and recalled to ourselves, never losing our sacred connections to one another. And so I invite you to join in singing our closing hymn, number 1056, Tula Klizeo. It's in your teal hymnal. This is an affirmation of the heart, a Zulu chant written by Joseph Shabalala while he was on a trip to New York City in 1988. Missing his home in South Africa, not knowing, with apartheid still in effect, if he would be allowed to return, he said, "Be still, my heart. Even here, I am at home." The UUA song information about this hymn notes the power in chants like Tula Klizeo is in the depth of the meaning, its connection to the traditions of the past, and its defiance for a better tomorrow. So let us sing this song together several times through, honoring the connection of our own hearts to past and future, helping us to find our home in now. To help you sing in a heart-centered way, the words are Tula Kleseo, Nala Pase Kaya.
Remain standing while we extinguish the chalice. Our chalice flame and speak together the words in our order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry within our hearts until we are together again.
And so, as you go, whatever is before you, whatever lies behind, may your past grant you wisdom to move into the future, awash in the love that enfolds you and offers beauty and meaning to all the twists and turns yet to come. And if you'd like to hold on to your slinky as an assist to spiritual practice, you are welcome to, or you can drop them in the same place with your orders of service and we'll add them to our busy bags. Blessed be.